Hey there, here is an update on the chelation that I'm doing. I'm just finishing up round 2 today. My last pill will be in about an hour, and I I can't remember if I tried starting at 0.5 milligrams. I think I might have, and then maybe went down to 0.25 in the second dose because it was the at least at these low doses, this acts as speed for me, and you can only handle so much of that. So, um, so that's what I tried. Again, it's not recommended to change doses in the middle of a round, but short of aborting the whole round and starting over the next week, because I'm taking such small dose right now, which is part of why I started out at a very small dose, so that if I monkeyed around or did anything um, incorrect in the protocol, it would be less impactful. So that's what I've done. Sleeping has been a little bit easier this time, but again, I did a little lower dose, but I've been trying to get information on what happens when you switch doses mid round, and I don't really have a good answer on that yet. And the resources that I have to ask directly are not there. There's some dogmatism sometimes, and so if I don't have emotional energy to deal with that kind of lift, I don't bother. So I did go ahead and order uh, the larger, kind of pricier, more detailed book by Cutler, because the smaller book, which is really excellent, and a great guide and also interesting to read, is really good. But at this point, I'm kind of I'm deeper into the process and I have more technical questions. So I ordered that, and I saw a video of Cutler online explaining a paper, and he got into hair test analysis a little bit, and I learned more in that in that 2 minutes than I have yet about hair testing. The problem with hair testing really is just that the way that the information is presented about your levels is not helpful. So that the template, whoever came up with the template, is a complete idiot and shouldn't have been allowed to make templates. You should have been given a different job, but not that one. So, and because of that, the when you get your results, they don't mean anything to you. You can interpret them a million different ways, and you could make a case for each of those out of the template because the template is so unclear. So I found that Cutler's explanation was more helpful, and so I ordered that as well. Even though I've already had a hair test, I actually had a doctor, kind of not administer it, but interpret it. But she's not good at explaining things, which is part of why we don't work together anymore. And so I don't deeply understand my hair test at all, and I have lots of questions around it. Even though bottom line is yes, you have too much heavy metal in your tissues, so you should do the chelation. Um, so that's where we are for round 2. The way that I am keeping up with things is I have my phone set to every 3 hours. It turns out in the book it does offer the option of every 4 hours at night, which is weird because in a lot of places in the book it kind of says don't do that with alpha lipoic acid. Um, but then in the most important spot where it says, okay, these are for sure's, and then it says you can do that. So I missed that memo and I haven't been doing it that way. But it doesn't matter a lot because my body needs about 10 and a half hours of sleep naturally right now, and kind of in a row, more or less. And either way, it's going to interrupt it pretty significantly to get up. So, in some ways, I almost think it's better that I'm taking it every 3 hours and every four, because I think if I took it every four and then I woke up in that eighth hour to take it, I really wouldn't be able to go back to sleep. Whereas getting up after 6 hours and taking it one more time and not getting woken up till hour nine is better for me probably. So this is the system that I've set up for me, and everybody needs a different way for their brain and so forth. But the way I've set it up is I was already using this notebook for other things, so I did not start a brand new one. I didn't know if I was going to be doing it this way because I've been doing so much of my health tracking on Excel, but because my hands are just more persnickety right now, and I can write a little bit with my left hand, and it doesn't have to be good, but the typing is getting a little tricky. So I've done it on paper. So the way I've set it up is right here is the kind of 3 to 4 day span that you're working with. Is it over? I guess it does. It's not quite 3 days total, but just the way that I've set it up, it shows across 4 days. The way I have it set up is the dates over here on the left, and then this is AM, including nighttime, like overnight, and then PM, just so that I know kind of which number I'm talking about. And then also on those days, then these are the what kind of supplementation I did. This was the first week, so I didn't track everything. I kind of went back after and did some of it, but so you've got kind of how do I have it? Yeah, and this time I did kind of vitamin C, E, zinc, and magnesium up on top, and then I'm tracking how much I'm taking, as well as kind of the recommended amounts by the protocol. And then I have kind of bad impacts, like uncomfortable impacts. So for me, last week it was nightmares and increase of eczema. I have eczema on my elbows, and sometimes, well, it used to completely disappear. It doesn't really anymore, but it's for sure a part of my conditions. There's a detox element of it to it, and then when I'm more ill, then it gets worse. So right now this has increased over here, and it's good I remember to write down I was having more nightmares, because that's something we don't always remember to do or think of as a medical issue. So I did write down on the what the dosing was and what it gave me. I had pretty good sleep when I was on 0.25. I've done the same this week too. Some of the impacts I had on the little bit higher dose, and again, I don't know if going to a much higher dose is going to make those worse or better. And the reason I say that is because in the book, I finally found a really important line in the book that I must have missed, that it says if you are very good on sulfur foods, then you're going to want to go on a much higher dose. You're going to want to start at a much higher dose, a higher than average dose. And if an average dose is anywhere sort of 5 to 50, they're saying that you would go higher. Well, that would have been great for somebody to say more out loud. They're so busy talking about the thiols, and the thiols are, I don't know if thiol is a synonym for sulfur or not, but thiols are in basically sulfuric foods. So eggs, any kind of cruciferous vegetable, or any vegetable kind of worth a damn, dark greens kind of thing. So it means that when you're chelating, you really can't be on those things, because the side, or not the side effect, but the byproduct of the ALA as it's moving through its process is to create thiols, which maybe is another term for just creating sulfur in the body. I'm not sure. But at any rate, they just don't want you to go too high on that. But I have now found the line in the book that says if you're very, if your body is pro-thiol, then, or if your body is pro-sulfur, then you should start much higher. So I'm probably going to start at 25 or 50 next week. The only problem with that is that it's Christmas on Monday. And so if something goes wrong, there's no one to help me uh, therapeutically. Like I can't go and um, get my balancing treatment that I've been trying to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that again this Thursday or not because my hand is bothering me again. It helps with that, but it's also driving into the city increases the radiation exposure that I get. And since I've been doing that every 3 days, I usually do it only like twice a month, maybe tops. It's an issue. So I've now got arnica gel on me, and it's feeling pretty like that. So not the arnica, but that's why I have the arnica gel on it. What I've also done here that I haven't seen others do, which doesn't surprise me in the community because it's not overall a nutritionally savvy community, which is a little surprising. But here's what I have written down. I wrote down like what kind of highlights of what I ate. I didn't do a whole food journal. My hand just can't do that right now, and it's not enough value add for me right now to do that. But I put in kind of other things that I'm eating, other main supplements that I'm doing, how long I'm sleeping on the days away, and then what I'm craving. I especially did that this week because I noticed on the off days, I was like, oh, like I'm really wanting different food. I'm needing different food when I'm chelating than when I'm not. So that's good to know. And of course, on non-chelation days, you really want to load up on your dark greens because there's lots of good things in them, and you can't have them during the chelation days. So then on the other side of the page, so if this was the first side of the page, then this is the second side of the page. So this is on the off days. So I write in off days, and I do it the same way, except not in black Sharpie because it bleeds through. So this week I have done it better. But then on the off days, like how much charcoal, because you can't have charcoal on the on days, and then how much of your main supplements. And then I have a couple of other main supplements that I take too. And then like things that I am craving and that I'm eating that are not at all the usual things that I would eat are like meatloaf, flank steak, barbecue chicken, pineapple, coconut water, and then what's another potatoes, and jam for some reason. And because the ALA gives me energy and I can't commit to doing a lot of things, but I have a lot of frozen fruit. I've been making a lot of jam. So, but what's been surprising is the craving. I've been craving the jam actually to eat it. So that's how I do it. And then as I'm going, I don't always do it every single time, but as I'm going, I put a little circle around each time that I've completed it. So right now, this is where I am for this week. And you can see some of them are not circled yet, but I have some circling to do. So I'm going to circle 10 o'clock last night, 1 o'clock this morning, 4, 7. Actually, it looks like I have 2 more doses, not 1. See, this is why we do this. But then what you also see is this little slash here. The slash is to let me know that's when you start chelating. And so the rest of the time, you're just pulling and getting the mercury mobile. And then at that, I think it's the 53-hour mark. After 53 hours of that moving around, then it can start pulling it out of the body, getting it into the bloodstream, and getting it out of you. So I think it's out of the bloodstream and then to the digestive tract. It makes it to the digestive tract and then it makes it out. So that's what you want to make sure to be drinking your water for sure. but it's just a reminder to me. And I'm not totally sure why it's important, but for me, it's helpful to know. Okay, for this period, we're just mobilizing the mercury, and then in this other period, then we're moving it out. And then the day after is when you're supposed to be also moving it out. So I hope that is helpful at some point to somebody. The other thing that I put on here is um, so I listed yesterday. I, I call it the zapper. Um, that's that's the contraption that I'm using to help balance the body and manage pain a bit. So it helps me to know, okay, you did that on that day, um, because that'll help me know if I have a heavy detox effect. I had a very heavy detox effect last week, but I did the zapper for like 2 hours. Um, kind of it just helps to have that retrospective. So that is all we've got. So we're at the end of round two. We're just gonna, keep going the best that we can. We can't wait around for everybody to get it together. So um, we're just gonna do what we can do while we can do it. But tomorrow will be charcoal day, I guess. So that will be good too, because charcoal day always kind of feels good. I did not swell up this time, but we'll see tomorrow if I do. I think last week that I probably swelled up more because I did the zapper for quite an intense amount of time, and I had already treated my liver a lot with it. And so I think that was just a lot for it. I think it was more about that than the chelation, but it certainly combined would have maybe had that impact. So that's all on that.